We're going to get started on the door and I'll show you how to open them. First, we're going to hide this by pressing H. Then we're going to right click to select the car, tab into edit mode. We're going to alt right click on this bottom edge and then we're going to do Control plus, and that's going to increase the selection. We're just going to delete these real quick. So we're going to do delete and choose vertices. Next, we're going to alt right click here and you'll notice we actually get all the vertices down here as well. So I'm just going to do Z for wireframe and B to box select, middle mouse deselect, and then just deselect all the vertices over here. So we just want this little horseshoe right here, and then we're just going to do E to extrude, right click to cancel, and we're going to bring it down on the Z axis. What we want to do is just press 3 to go to side view, Z for wireframe. We're going to bring this down until it's below this part of the door slightly. And I'm also going to do S and then Z and 0, and that will just level this off on the Z axis. Then just press enter. So that's S, Z, and 0, and that'll make it flat on the Z axis. So we're just going to bring it a little bit below the bottom of this door right here. Now we want to cut out this part of the door, or this shape of the door. So to do that, we're going to do K for the knife cut tool. We're going to go up to the top, and we're just going to left click when we get onto this top edge, and we're going to go down to here. We want to make sure we press Z, and that will enable the cut through option. You can see down here it says cut through on, and then you just want to go a little bit below where the bottom of the door is, and then we'll just left click here and then press enter. I'm going to do A to deselect everything, and we're going to do K for the knife cut tool again, and we're going to go down here, left click on that vertex and go over to here, and then left click again. Then we'll go up to about here and we're going to left click, and now we'll just press enter. This reference image doesn't line up the best, so if we follow the line on the side, it's going to be a little bit different than if we follow the line on the top. So we're just going to kind of follow this top one. But first we want to take a look at which vertex we want to follow. So we want to start with this vertex, so I'm just going to right click to select it. This is the topmost one on the side of the car, and then we're just going to go to top view by pressing 7 on the number pad. We're going to do Z for wireframe, then we're going to do K for the knife cut tool. We're going to hover over this vertex and then just left click, go over to here and then left click, then we're going to go over to about here and then we will left click and press enter. So that should look correct. You should have it connecting to that vertex. If not, you can just do Control Z, undo it, and try it again if you accidentally selected one of the other vertices. And then the last thing we need to do is just bring this back to here. But first what I want to do actually is get rid of some of these extra vertices. So you see here we have 2 sets of vertices and we really don't need that. So what we're going to do is select this one, hold shift, select this one, do Alt M and choose at last, and that will merge it over to the last selected vertex. We'll do the same here, select this one, shift select this one, and we can just do Shift R to repeat that process. So just press Shift R and then do the same here, select, Shift R, and that's it for that. And then down here we want to keep this angle. So what we're actually going to do is take this one and then shift select this one and do Shift R. This vertex here we probably don't need as well, so I'm going to select it, then shift select this one and do Shift R. So that's it for the cleanup. Now we just have to make sure that this vertex connects over to here. So I'm just going to hide this part real quick. So I'm going to select one of these vertices, do Control L, and do the same here. You can actually hold shift, select a vertex here, Control L, and then H to hide that. I'm going to hide this too, so I'm going to select a vertex, Control L, H to hide that. One thing I noticed when I tried to knife cut this over is it actually didn't work properly. So what we can do to fix that is just select this, hold shift, right click to select this, Alt M at last. That'll just merge that over. Then again, we're going to do K for the knife cut tool, left click here, then we'll left click about where we had that vertex before. Then we'll go over here, and again, we're just going to left click. Try to keep even spacing from the left to right of this line. So this line and this line that's going to be the new line should be relatively parallel. And then just left click and press enter. Then at this point, we can just do Alt H to unhide this piece right here. Now we just want to take a look at the side of the car, make sure everything looks alright. One thing I'm going to do is merge this vertex up. So I'm going to select it, hold shift, select this one, do Alt M, choose at last. And you can use G twice, slide this over a little if you want to kind of create a nicer curvature in this area. The other thing I'd like to fix is now if you look at this, you can see how the shading kind of goes down like this, and I don't really like that. So what we can do to fix that is just select this vertex, hold shift, select this one, and then just do J to join those. So it's going to create a nice line through there, and that's going to help our shading. It's going to help continue it through like this rather than having it go down like how we had it. One thing I want to do is it kind of comes to a point, like you can see the shading kind of comes to that point right there. So what I'm going to do is select this vertex, do G twice, and just slide it down a little, and that'll kind of help to smooth out the shading as you can see right here. Then what we're going to do is with this vertex selected, we're going to select this one as well. So hold shift, right click to select it, J to join, that'll connect those two. You can see the shading still looks fine. And it looks like we can get rid of this edge right here because we can just go to edge select this edge, do delete and dissolve edges because we have a quad right here, so we don't need that edge in there. there. And one of the other things I wanted to do is go to vertex select, and I actually don't remember what these vertices were for, so I'm going to take these and just merge them over to this part of the door. I'm going to select this one, hold shift, select this one, alt M at last. I'm going to do the same here, select, shift select, do shift R to repeat. Then before we separate this door, what I wanted to do is create some bevels around the part to make it look a little bit nicer. So what we can do is just alt right click here, alt and shift right click to get this part. You shouldn't have any vertices over here. So we're just going to do control E, we're going to do edge bevel weight, and then just go until it says 1 and left click. Then the last thing to do is just to separate this door from the rest of the car so we can actually open it up. So we're going to go to face select, we're going to hold alt and right click here, we're going to hold alt and shift and right click here. Then I'm just going to hold shift and right click on both of these two faces to select them. Then we can just press Y to separate it from the rest of the car, and now it's actually physically separate. So I'm just going to move it to show you that it's separate, and then just right click to put it back into place. And at this point I'm going to recommend that you save it so that you can save the original location of the door just in case you rotate it and move it, because I'm going to be showing you how to rotate it right now and I don't want you to mess up the rotation of the door. So I do recommend you go to file and save at this point, and then I'll show you how to rotate this door. So now you have this original position saved, so if you make any changes and you forget how to go back, you still have this file saved. What we're going to do is go to vertex select, and we want to choose a point that we want the door to rotate around. So the point that I chose before, and I don't think it matters too much which point you choose, but I think this point's a decent point. So I'm going to right click to select this point, then I'm going to do shift F, and I'm going to choose cursor to selected. That's going to put the cursor right at that vertex location. Then I'm going to switch to face select, select one of these faces, and then do control L to select the door. And now what we want to do is to rotate around this 3D cursor location. So we're going to go down here, we're going to left click and change it to 3D cursor. So now our rotation point is based on this 3D cursor. And in order to open the door, all we're going to do is do R to rotate and then press Z to rotate around the Z axis. And now you can see that the door is opening up nicely. But as I mentioned earlier, you definitely want to store that original location of the door. So you don't want it rotated at some random angle that you can't remember, because you want that original location of the door. So I do not recommend saving it after you've rotated it. So you can play around with this all you want, but you should definitely not save it if the door is not in its original location. One of the best ways to handle door opening is to actually use shape keys, and I do have a tutorial on that, and I'll put a link to it in the description. And we go through the whole process of separating the door and then using shape keys so that we'll store the original location of the door, and then we'll store certain other locations of the door all the way till fully extended. So if you're interested in how to use shape keys to open up the door, I'll put that link in the description and feel free to check it out. But for now, that's it for this tutorial. In the next tutorial, we'll work on some of the details to the door. So I'll see you in the next tutorial. Thank you to our awesome Patreon supporters. If you'd like to become a Patreon supporter yourself, head on over to patreon.com/StephenBrooks. Thank you for your support. And I'm going to do K for the knife cut tool, and then go to this vertex, left click, go over to here, try to keep even spacing, and then just left click and press enter. Why did that not work? Alright, so what's going on here? 4 vertices, there should be 5. Still 4 vertices. Why is it not cutting through that?